everyone, and welcome to Once Upon a Storybook. My name is Cynthia with Cynthia's Joyful Creations, and today we're going to look at another angel story titled Angel of God, My Guardian Dear, from the book In the Arms of Angels by Joan Wester Anderson. Roderick McLeish said, "It is said, and it is true, that just before we are born, an angel puts his finger to our lips and says, 'Hush, don't tell what you know.' That is why we are born with a cleft on our upper lips and remembering nothing of where we came from." Debbie Smith bustled around the family's Wisconsin beach cottage on a beautiful day in June. She and her husband Tom had recently purchased the cottage as a weekend and summer getaway, and Debbie was adding homey touches for their three young children, Megan 6, Carrie 4, and Michael 2.5. Debbie is a postpartum nurse and was then working part-time. She was also thinking about launching a major household decorating project. Like many young moms, her mind was filled with bits and pieces of life, but the cottage was a respite for her. The living room and front porch faced the lake with a lawn that grew right down to the water. She says, "We had already cautioned the children that if they went even a step off the porch, they had to wear their life jackets. Of course, no one was permitted anywhere near the water without Debbie or Tom." To make things even safer, especially for Michael, Tom laid their canoe upside down across the pier that jutted 40 feet out into the lake. If Michael attempted to go out on the pier or use the ladder at the end, he would have to crawl over the canoe first. Michael was an active toddler, but usually very obedient, and he knew the rule about going outside alone. When Debbie and Tom had taken the children down to the lake the day before, everyone had behaved beautifully. Apparently, the children were adjusting to this new environment and the safety rules it required. However, that day, Debbie wasn't ready to go outside. She was cleaning the bathroom, concentrating on the tub. Yesterday, she'd given the children a warm bath after they'd come out of the cold lake water, and there was a layer of sand left in the bottom. Before they all went swimming today, she wanted to rinse that away so a shiny and comfortable tub would be waiting. "Can't we go, Mommy?" Carrie asked. Megan was already outside sweeping the garage with Tom as she waited for the others. "Go, Mommy," Michael echoed. "You know the rule," Debbie answered, not turning around. "You have to get your life jacket on." Dutifully, Carrie headed for her bedroom, but Michael stayed. "Want to go out," he repeated. The sand wasn't going down the drain, and Michael was persistent. "Go and get your life jacket too, Michael," Debbie told him. And as he went out the bathroom door, she added a quick prayer. "Guardian angel, would you mind watching over Michael for a few moments, just until I get this done?" The prayer was unusual, Debbie admits, because she rarely invoked angels or asked any favors from them. At that time, I didn't know I could, but she was growing a bit frustrated with all the unfinished tasks and the disarray, and she would take help wherever she could find it. Quiet temporarily descended, and she finished the tub and then decided to gather all the wet towels from yesterday and start a wash load. Carrie came into the bathroom and interrupted her mother's thoughts. "Mommy, where's Michael?" "Carrie, don't step on the floor, it's wet." "Mommy, where's Michael?" "He's in his room, honey, getting his life jacket." Debbie started for the washing machine with an armload of towels. Carrie followed her. "Where's Michael, Mom?" she demanded. "Where is he?" Suddenly, Debbie realized that her daughter had been asking that question for at least several minutes. Carrie asked so many questions so often that Debbie had learned to tune her out sometimes. "Isn't he in the house?" Debbie asked. Carrie shook her head. She was wearing her life jacket and her water shoes. Surely Michael was right behind her with his own equipment. But he wasn't. Debbie glanced in his bedroom and then quickly checked the rest of the house. There was no small boy on the front porch or the grass. Pushing back a faint feeling of alarm, she went outside. He must be right around the corner. "Mom, where's Michael?" Carrie persisted. Debbie went to the garage where Tom and Megan were sweeping debris. "Is Michael here?" Debbie asked. "No, I thought he was with you," Tom replied. The couple looked at each other. "Where is Michael?" Fear rising, Debbie broke into a run, going back around the house and toward the lake. There was no one there, and Michael would not have climbed over the canoe. She started to turn away, and then front deep within she sensed a voice. Go to the pier, it commanded. The pier. Obeying, she clambered over the canoe and ran to the end where the ladder dropped into the water. Michael could climb, but he had never gone down a ladder, had he? And then the world seemed to stop. Several feet from the pier, floating face down on top of the wavelets, was the body of her son. One often hears of people receiving a rush of adrenaline during emergencies, a supersized burst of speed or strength that enables them to perform feats that they could not otherwise do. Debbie describes what she experienced as far more than that. Screaming hysterically and calling for Tom, she suddenly felt herself being picked up and thrown into the water. I felt as if I were wearing strings and someone else was pulling them, because it was not me who leaped off the pier, got to Michael, and turned him over. I would have been paralyzed with horror if I had not been alone. There was someone else there. But the horror was with her too, as she looked at the toddler's grayish face and limp body. I've lost him, she thought wildly, even as she began mouth-to-mouth resuscitation in the water. I only have 2 children now. Please no, God. I knew he was on his way to heaven, but I couldn't let him go. Frantic, she performed CPR, and Tom joined her as they carried Michael through the waves and laid him on the grass. I worked on him for 6 or 7 minutes, Debbie says. I couldn't stop working or praying. Then all of a sudden, he threw up. Tom had gotten directions for the nearest medical center since he did not know how to direct a rescue vehicle to their neighborhood, and the family sped off. By now, Michael was breathing, but he would revive and then faint again. Pray, girls, Debbie directed her shaken daughters, who recited the Our Father over and over. By the time Tom skidded into the medical center parking lot, Michael was alert and speaking. Although the doctors put him through various tests, they found no damage, either physical or mental. Unbelievingly, the nightmare was over. Although Debbie did not want to drive back to the cottage, Tom disagreed. We're a family, and we have to regroup as a family. And so they did. Michael took a very long nap that day, Debbie recalls, and when he awakened, we asked him what had happened. Michael admitted that he had not wanted to wear his life jacket. He had apparently felt certain he would swim without it, and had attempted to prove it by climbing down the ladder. But God was in the water, he announced. God was there? Debbie asked. What did he look like? I'll draw you a picture, Michael said, and he did. Admittedly, the God glob did not resemble any being Debbie had ever seen. But as Michael pointed out, God was wearing a life jacket, and Michael has never refused to wear his since. There were no physical effects from Michael's near drowning, and today he is a bright and healthy preschooler. Debbie has had a more difficult time adjusting. For a while, on our weekends at the cottage, I kept the front curtains closed so I couldn't look out at the lake or the pier. She had also wondered about the extraordinary presence that seemed to be with her throughout this ordeal, never chiding or rebuking, just loving. From the time I asked Michael's angel to watch over him, he did. The words directed me to the pier, the feeling of being propelled, it had to have been him. Debbie believes that even little Carrie was a messenger. Her constant questioning was what alerted me that something was wrong. It is indeed possible to lose a child in a split second of time, but God has given us angels too to protect the tiny ones, and parents should ask for their help every day. I've learned to pray before acting, even in a non-emergency, Debbie says, to pray before speaking to my children about a problem, to ask the Lord for wisdom, for patience to stop what I'm doing and really listen. As she knows, that prayer may make all the difference. Wow, what a story. Well, I am glad that Michael is okay. Well, thank you for joining me for Once Upon a Storybook. And next time we will come together and we will look at another angel story called Angels at the Door. So until then, be joyful, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.